So hopefully you viewers really enjoyed today's show, showing you the transformation of this property. And stay with us because we're going to end up making this a two-part show. We're going to also have the groundbreaking ceremony probably in January. So we're going to try and make it a two-part show so you can see the dignitaries and the festival of atmosphere that should take place. We're going to also capture a lot more of the outside during the daylight, but hopefully you enjoyed today's Northwest Commission meeting on the process of the Heritage Square and getting that completed. So this is Alan Shea signing off for the first part of the Heritage Square story. Thank you. Hi, this is Alan Shea, and I'm here on Our Society. We're here at the Northwest Commission meeting that's being hosted by the new Heritage Square Community Center. So we want you to come on in and join us. We're going to take a tour of the property and share with you the making of this incredible project. It's at least been about 20 years in the making. So come on and join us. Make sure you listen to all of the questions and see how the progress takes place, okay? All right, we're going to officially start our meeting tonight. We're going to have our roll call.
Chair Shea.
Here.
Vice Chair Schnelly.
Present.
Commissioner Boykin.
Here.
Commissioner Douglas.
Here.
Commissioner Lau.
Here.
Commissioner Dominguez. Absent Commissioner Washington. Absent Commissioner Darden.
Present.
And we have a quorum.
All right, good. So we're going to go through a quick overview with Mr. Wong here. And he's going to come on over here and talk from this angle.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. The Heritage Square Senior Apartments, it has a total of 70 units. 69 are for very low-income seniors. One is an on-site manager's unit. Some of us met the manager here, Donna. The maximum income is gross income, $30,400 for a one-person household, $34,700 for a two-person household. The developer is Bridge Housing. They're one of the largest affordable housing, nonprofit affordable housing developers here in California. The architect, the design architect was Steinberg Architects, and then after the design was finished, KTGY took over the project. The contractor is Dreyfus Construction, and their superintendent, the one who is here every day running this job, is Mr. Kevin Sharp, who is born and bred and still lives here in Pasadena. This project is notable in part because a lot of the consulting or the consultants who work on the project are actually Pasadena small businesses. So the construction management was done by Mass Build, Pasadena business. All of these ones that I'm going to name are all Pasadena businesses. Landscape architect, EPT design, structural engineer, Seifel Bouquet, civil engineer, Wheeler and Gray, interior design, Bridget Boyd, interior design, and the service provider, Huntington Care Network. Those are all Pasadena-based businesses. And this particular project, the developer had a requirement for 20% local hire, 20% local subcontracting, 20% local purchasing. The city's ordinance, first source ordinance that deals with local benefit, only deals with local hiring. This particular project had the additional requirements of local subcontracting and local purchasing, 20% for all. So the actual numbers are 20% local hires. So we hit that right on. It was actually 20.2%. Local subcontracting, that is all the money paid to subcontractors to work on this job. 38% were local subcontractors here at Pasadena. All the money used to purchase materials on this project, 63% were purchased from local vendors here in Pasadena. So from a local benefit perspective, this project really sets the bar for local benefit here in Pasadena. The total development cost of the project was over almost $24 million. The money came from $1.6 million from the city of Pasadena. The city of Pasadena, again, retains ownership of the land. We did have the land, so we retained ownership of the land, and we provided project-based rental subsidies for all the residents who live here. So all the residents who live here only pay 30% of their income. no matter how low it is. So we can go all the way down to zero, folks who have zero income, they can still afford to live here. And then this project used low-income housing tax credits. Wells Fargo bought those tax credits for about $17 million. And so the money that the developer got from Wells Fargo Bank just went in to build the building. Wells Fargo Bank also provided a construction loan, so that's temporary financing, so that money gets taken out after the construction is done. And then another lender, CCRC, provided a permanent loan of about $5 million. So if you take the amount of the city, the amount of Wells Fargo equity, and the CCRC amount, that gives you the total almost $24 million total cost for this particular project. This project was finished in October of 2016, and as you may recall, we had an RFP committee, RFP working group that put together the RFP, that decided what kind of project this should be, what the process was going to be, and it included Ishmael Trone and Ralph Poole, who were representatives from the old Fair Oaks Project Area Committee. That committee went away with the dissolution of redevelopment. And then from the Northwest Commission, the chair at the time was Charles Nelson, and then Maria Eisenberg was another commissioner. They were also on the committee. And then two city staff members, myself and Jim Wong, we were part of this committee. And so this project overall took 14 years to finish, which is really a shame. Really a shame if you think of how many people could have been housed here. For instance, Ralph Poole, he could have qualified to live here. He died. He helped to get this thing going. He passed away before the thing opened. Right? So there's a huge need for senior housing here. For every unit that we had, we got 22 applications, over 1,500 applications for this particular project. There's a priority here for people who live and work or retire from a job in Pasadena, and those who live in Pasadena. All of the 69 residents who will live here, and they haven't all been selected yet, they will all be Pasadena residents, 100%. And so far there's only about a dozen people that have moved in. They just started moving in on Monday. So more are going to be moving in over the next month, and pretty soon we'll have it fully leased up. Other questions?
Out of the 69 folks that are here, what's the ethnic breakdown?
We don't have it completely. I've seen the first 30, and it's about, if I counted it right, about 7 or 8, well, I think it's 8 or like 8 Hispanic, about 7 or 8 Asian, about 4, I think, Armenian, and the rest other. We don't know exactly who they are. Most likely African American, and maybe some Caucasian. Yeah. So it's pretty mixed. It's pretty mixed, but we don't know what the final mix will be until all 69. But the property management company who's doing the lease up said that it looks really mixed. So there is a rumor. I've been called several times. I got probably at least 4 calls asking why all the residents here are Asians from the Bay Area. You know, this is the kind of thing that caused this project to take 14 years to get built. We have to stop. We have to stop that kind of stuff. You know, that's you know, it's just not productive. Firstly, it's not factually true. So whoever is spreading those rumors, whatever, don't take that source as an accurate source of information, because there's lots of rumors going around. But we will see. It's going to be leased up. It's going to be, and at that point, everybody will be able to see who is here and who got these things.
So are you saying that all the information will be disclosed as to what percentage who
Yes.
they are, the makeup?
Yep.
And the process in which the selection was made?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Why is it taking, I guess, I mean, when do you project the 69, the rest of the 69 will have been selected? Kind of why is that taking?
Because there's a careful process, because it's a multi-step process to get people in. Firstly, people had to submit a pre-application.
Which was done.
Yeah, many months ago, but that was before the building was done. The building
Right.
just got its certificate of occupancy about 2 weeks ago. So we couldn't have moved people in.
Well, yeah, okay, I was just asking about the selection, because it sounds like the selection still hasn't been.
It's not
determined.
finalized.
Okay.
It's not finalized. There's primarily a 3-step process. So after the folks have been put into the priority categories and drawn from the priority pool category, the first priority pool are those who live and work and or retired from a Pasadena job. That was first priority. Second priority are those who just live in Pasadena. Of course, everybody has to be income eligible. Everybody has to be age eligible.
What is the
55 and up. And so, and then there were several other pools. There were several other categories. The biggest category is folks who didn't fall into any of the priorities, so just the general folks who applied. All the residents are coming from those first 2 priority categories. So we know every single one will be passing residents. So once they get pulled, then everybody was given a lottery number, a computerized, randomized lottery number, and then they were pulled out. And then folks have to submit a full application to the property management company. Property management company does their best to make sure they're eligible income, they're really in the right priority. Because you have people who say, yeah, I live and I retired from work in Pasadena, but they can't demonstrate any of that. And so then they're moved down to a lower pool. So the property management company has to screen them first. After the property management company screens them, they have to send those applications to the developer. And the developer has to make sure that all the financial requirements that the funders have are met, to make sure that all gets met. And then once they approve them, then they send the applications to my office, and we have to approve them for Section 8, because everybody who's here has to be in Section 8. So it's a 3-step process. But the first 30 have been processed, and the first about 10 or a dozen or so have already moved in this week. So there's still some more. The application is closed. They're going to pull people off of those priority pools, out of the priority pools. So it's not like people can still apply, but they will pull more people off those pools until all 69 are leased up.
So when did the application process start, and then how was it publicized?
Oh, it was widely publicized. It started, we started taking an interest list around, I believe it's around the beginning of the calendar year. We started an interest list. So anybody who was interested, or anybody who happened to drive by the sign and see it, they could call in and they can get on the interest list. So sometime in the summer, I don't remember exactly when, in the summer, then everybody who was on the interest list was notified that now you can send in a pre-application. And so pre-applications were made available, and they would fill them out, they would submit them. After we got our 1,563 applications, then they were randomized by computer, and then everybody was put into their priority categories based on their randomized number. And then they started to pull and get folks in to submit a full application. So it was the time to submit an application. I believe it was a 1-month period. I think we gave folks 1 month to submit their actual application. Or their pre-application, sorry. Yeah. So it was advertised widely. We had, it was published in the newspaper. It was published on our website. It was published in the, it was published on little cards. We printed over 500 cards, both in English and in Spanish, to distribute through the council offices and at community centers, and we were distributing them widely. So we had 1,500 applications, so we probably had a lot more people who actually saw it and then elected not to apply if they see that, oh, it's priority goes to people who live in Pasadena. Probably some people didn't bother to apply. A couple questions. Go ahead.
I mean, listening to the process to submit an application sounds pretty involved for someone who is in a situation where they are looking for subsidizers. In other words, usually there's a reason someone is struggling. And so how are they supported through that process?
If they needed help, they could get a caseworker to help them, and many came in with caseworkers who helped them.
Okay, because, I mean, having records to show you lived in Pasadena, that you retired from some organization that might not even exist anymore. You know, I mean, that's a lot to be able to prove.
Yeah, yeah.
I have two questions. Because it sounds like some of the individuals are now being, as they're going through the process, are being qualified for Section 8.
Everybody has to be qualified for Section 8, every single person.
I would imagine Section 8 already has a list of a billion people long that we could probably pluck from if they applied and they were already on Section 8. And so it sounds like there might be some people who are not on Section 8 at this present time, but going through the process will badge them for Section 8, it sounds like.
Yes.
Add to the Section 8 so
That
they
is
might
correct.
move in front of other individuals
Yeah, so
who
you're
might.
saying is that someone could jump ahead.
Yes.
Of others who are
That's
already
right.
in Section 8.
And that's because there's two different kinds of Section 8 vouchers. There's vouchers that are for tenants. You get one and you go and you find your property. And then there's ones called project-based. This one and the Mar Vista one are project-based. That means this project, whoever gets into this project gets Section 8. So there are two different things, and you don't have to use the same process. So folks who apply here, many of them are on our Section 8 waiting list also. They can, but it's not exclusively only the people on our Section 8 waiting list. So other folks get an opportunity to come in.
They will be made Section 8.
They will be made Section 8. Everybody who gets here gets made Section 8. That's
But
correct.
is your question that it goes like the other way around, for people to be on the Section 8 list?
Well, I was just saying there was already a list of Section 8 people 2-3 miles long that we could have probably just matched those up. And they would have loved to come into this location.
Some, but then we-
that fit the criteria.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we have about 20,000 people households on our waiting list. They're not all seniors, a lot of them are families, etc. And the vast majority of people on the Section 8 waiting list are not from Pasadena. The vast majority, because the Section 8 program is a national program. Anybody can apply for Section 8 in any place in the country. And so we have people from all over.
Regionalized.
No. Anybody, you can apply to the Section 8 waiting list in Anchorage, Alaska if you want to.
Right. No, and I understand that, but I thought there were still regions that supported Section 8.
Not in terms of being able to get, not in terms of being able to get on the waiting list.
Right, no, I
Yeah.
understand.
So here we can apply a very strict Pasadena preference.
Can I get that last follow-up question? That was a two-part question. The other question was, it sounded like after they qualified income-wise, then the developer has another type of.
Well, because they're using all of these funding sources, like low-income housing tax credits. Low-income housing tax credits are tax credits for low-income housing. And they have a whole bunch of other rules. And they just have to make sure that everybody who comes in is meeting all the requirements, because they cannot lease to someone who doesn't meet the
So
requirements.
essentially, it's
of
kind
low-income.
of audit.
It's like a double check.
They have to double
Yeah.
check so
Yeah.
they can check off.
Well,
And
given
this-
how Wells Fargo's doing these days, they
Yeah.
need to double check.
Well, in this place, the property management company and the developer are also checking for fair housing, making sure that everything is fair, everything is legal, everything like that. So.
I think to follow up on Craig's question about Section 8, Steve, sorry. When we're of the 20,000 that we have on the Section 8, were the few that are Pasadena residents, were those notified of this possibility?
Yes.
In other words,
Yes.
you can filter that for who's 55 years and older and section.
That's
and,
right.
In Pasadena, and then you let them know that they could apply.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We tried to spread the net pretty wide, which is why we got 1,500 applications. So.
So I have a $1 million question for you, Jim.
And for 55?
With that 1,500 applications you received,
Yeah.
you guys have any statistics of ethnicity, basic income level, and a percentage of, well, I guess it might be early or premature to talk about the success, but certainly if you got 1,500 people coming there, that would be a good start to start seeing the interest in the makeup of those applicants. So,
Well, the short answer is no. We don't have the data because we only verify the information on the folks who get processed to actually come in. So just because you're on the waiting list doesn't mean we're going to ask you to come in, give us evidence of your income, give us evidence of your residency. No, nobody does that. It's only the folks who come in. So people self-report, and many people will self-report, oh yeah, I live in Pasadena, but when you dig into it, they don't actually.
Well, the reason I was asking is from a statistical, you got 1,500 applications coming in, and the general information is on those applications, how much you make, where you live, all the questions that's required to qualify. Just looking at the application and the information provided can give us statistics. And the reason why it's important for us as commissioners in the Northwest is because we want to be able to articulate really how much, from a statistics standpoint of this project, really serve the community broadly, ethnic-wise, and to see some of the addresses if they really came out of Northwest, or did they come from other areas of Pasadena?
The city of, a couple things is no, because you can't pull accurate data without verifying the data. And we can't verify the data for 1,500 people, 1,400 plus of whom are not going to be moving in here. So we don't verify, just like our Section 8 waiting list, our 20,000 people on the Section 8 waiting list, we only verify their income when their name comes up. When we're ready to issue a voucher to that individual, then we check everything. Otherwise, we would check 20,000. We'd spend the time to check 20,000 households, the vast majority of which are not going to be able to, even get a voucher. So we can't do that. We have information, but garbage in, garbage out. We know there's lots of errors when people submit their application. There's lots of errors, some by accident, some on purpose. And so you can't trust the information that is sent. You have to, we do like Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. We have to verify. Everything gets audited. It all has to be verified. So to demonstrate income, they have to bring in evidence of it. Demonstrate residency, you have to bring in evidence of residency. Utility bill, a lease agreement, something like that. Otherwise, it's just not accurate information. And the other thing is, I know where you're going. Local preference. The only local preference we are allowed here in Pasadena is a Pasadena local preference. There is not a neighborhood preference, a census tract preference. There's no such thing.
And that's actually the right way to, you can't be exclusive. It has to,
Well, we asked HUD, we actually asked HUD, can we do something less than the city? And they said no, because it doesn't follow fair housing, and it is used to exclude people out of communities rather than include or keep people in communities. That's why they said, we asked the question. We said, can we do something smaller than the city? They said, no. Your preference only includes citywide. That's it. So that's all we could do. But the marketing was very targeted, and it was very local. I know we supplied information cards to John Kennedy, Tyrone Hampton, and Victor Gordo. They got way more information cards than the others, and the others didn't complain because they didn't have as much demand for it. But the ones locally, they had demand for it, and so they were giving out folks, and they were email blasting, and they were spreading the word, and that's all we can do. Otherwise, it will violate fair housing.
I'd love to see one of you.
Yeah, can we go quick?
See, but before we let you see, the reason why I think that question is really relevant for the Northwest Commission is because when this project was in its evolution stage, the ones who showed up at all the meetings were the ones who were most interested, who were from around this area. And if they were the ones who were in need, and they were the ones who were participating in the process of getting this done, and for some reason they were left out, then we're not serving the Northwest residents in their needs. So
They were left out purposely, but I don't.
well, no, it's not a matter of left out purposely. It's a matter of gathering up information. That's one of the reasons that I think we have a great opportunity right now is to reprocess information. If we get information, and I think Steve is doing a great job, he's been very methodical in our surveys, it's going to help us. It's one of the reasons I just shared with the commissioners at the other meeting. We're going out, talking to all the departments to find out their objectives, their statistics, their information, so we can find out if these residents are actually getting it. It will help us. But if we don't have anything to refer to or to identify with, then it is throwing everything up in the air and see where things fall.
Right.
So
Legally, we can only fine tune or target only as much as we're allowed to do, which is through HUD, through fair housing, and through the local preference. And the local preference is a citywide preference, and it can't be anything less than that. I understand what you're saying, but the marketing was very intense locally, as locally intense as we could make it.
Well, we're getting these kind of statistics.
Well, when we're done, we can get race statistics. We can't give specific information about, here's Mrs. Jones and she lived at this place and that place. We can't do that, but we can give race statistics at least.
But with 69 addresses, I mean, you can tell us, with 69, it would be overwhelming to identify how many were from the Northwest area.
Yeah.
So that's
Potentially we
possible,
can
right?
I know I would, and going
Well, the big variable in this whole selection process is that randomizing process, the numbers, and there's
Yeah. You either do it sort of first come, first serve, or you randomize it and you overlay a local preference, which is what we did. So I would say we did as much as possible within the targeting that we can do, which is Pasadena, and we can say 100% everybody who moves in here is going to be Section 8. Okay. After the initial folks move in, then the remaining folks are going to come off of our Section 8 waiting list. When there are vacancies, then they will come off the Section 8 waiting list. But there will not be a duplicate waiting list here. They will come right off the Section 8 waiting list.
Well, part of this is allowing the community to understand what the process is in terms of selection, right? So that people feel that it's a fair, transparent selection process. So letting them know that there was a randomized process it's going to be important for us to be able to communicate.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of that was done. But at the end of the day, when the 69 residents are actually in place, I think it would still be of value to understand that, okay, over 50% of the residents that are here, or 70% of the residents that are here, are not from somewhere else that just may happen to work in Pasadena.
No, they all live in Pasadena. 100% will all live in Pasadena.
100%. I thought the criteria was that you work